All right, back with another installment of the Top 100. Now we're in the 70s-ish era of this. It's always awesome to do these every year and take a look at all of these different games that I've played and reviewed and thought about and played with friends and family, and just to really remember like why I really enjoy them and try to like rank them and figure out exactly where they fit on the list. Anyway, let's jump right into it. My number 80 here is a game that I can definitely see moving up on the list. This is a game that just came out, so brand new to the list. This is Thunder Road, or Thunder Road Vendetta. This is the remake of the old classic game Thunder Road, which I actually had played before. And the new version of this just takes it to 11. And I really enjoyed how the game comes together and playing it. It's just one of those games that's kind of like zany and wacky. And the reason it was so low on my top 100 in general is just because I hadn't played it that much. I've actually played it more since I actually made the list. So I can definitely see this one moving up. It'll be interesting to see where it fits on the list next year, especially if I continue to be able to get it back to the table. I don't have my own copy of this, but this is one I'm definitely considering getting. It's a car racing game where you're blowing up other cars, rolling dice, blasting people away. There's a lot of randomness and zaniness. I love the different boards as you're racing along. I love the upgrades you can get with the expansions and the different special powers. And it's just a simple roll and move style game where you're rolling dice and blowing each other up, but it just comes out to be a ton of fun. And that's why I love Thunder Road Vendetta. My number 79 is a game that I feel like was on the list back in the day, fell off, but now it's back on the list, and that's specifically because a cooperative mode came out for this, and this is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. Ashes is always like a really solid card game with a lot of interesting decisions. I always say that Ashes kind of give me a headache sometimes because there's so many meaningful decisions in the game. The fact that you start out with your hand of cards that you want to have in the beginning of the game, and then you're playing those cards out and you have a dice pool with tons of dice, and figuring out the correct order to play everything in is very important on how things play out. The cooperative mode for this, the Red Rains, where you're fighting against this Chimera Dragon thing, was a lot of fun to play. I played it solo. I think it's really fun the fact that you can now play Ashes solo, try out different decks against stuff, put this back on my list, and I'm really excited to see if they come out, which I know they are, coming out with more cooperative modes for this game, or more cooperative villains to fight up against. I really enjoy games where you're fighting up against a villain and can play it solo but also play it with other people. This made Ashes come back on my list because it was a lot of fun to play, and this is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. My next one here is a Marvel game. Everybody knows I'm a Marvel fan. I'm wearing a Marvel shirt. This is Marvel Dice Throne. This is a head-to-head battler, like Battle Yahtzee almost, where you're rolling, trying to get different symbols on the dice, whether it be straights or different symbols to do different combo attacks. Every character has lots of tokens and stuff to make them feel thematic as they're doing different things and having different combos with all the different stuff. You have a deck of cards where you're using combat points to play out those cards and upgrade your character as the game goes along, and just trying to knock the other player out of their life points. I almost always lose this game. I don't know why. I just, maybe the dice don't come out my way, or maybe I'm just terrible at it, but I still have a lot of fun playing it, and I really enjoy the theme and the setting of it. And it's one of those games I feel like I can just throw on the table and kind of play with anyone, and anybody kind of has a chance to win. And so I find that enjoyable and fun, and that is Marvel Dice Throne. All right, my number 77 here is a game I actually played recently with friends. I also played it at the retreat, and this has kind of reinvigorated this for me, and that is Junk Art. Junk Art is a game that has a bunch of different rules modes and a bunch of different ways to play it. I enjoy stacking games and dexterity games in general, and this one is just fun. I really like the modes where you like pass cards to different players, and they have to try to figure out how to incorporate that in their structure. There's cooperative modes where you're trying to stack without everything falling over, and just different modes where like people get the same cards and you have to build the exact same thing and trying to like make it all come together. I really enjoy it, and that's why Junk Art is my number 77. All right, since we're on the dexterity game track here, this is another dexterity game. Like I said, I enjoy them. My 76 is Pitch Car. So Pitch Car is just a game where you're flicking discs around a board, and I just really enjoy the configurations of all the tracks and how you can play the game in different ways. And you can play it with younger kids or play it with adults, and sometimes the flicking will matter here and there, but it's like so random a lot of times you play it. It's just fun to be able to set everything up. One of the things I really enjoy as well, we do pitch car at Dice Tower East, and Tom sets up a big old track, and it's just fun. Like, even in between those matches, like, we leave it set up, and it's just fun with the family going around flicking the cars around the track, trying to do a loop-de-loop, trying to do all this different stuff. Tom has a crazy setup of it. I really enjoyed the game when I owned it as well. That was one of the games I got rid of when I moved down to Miami. I kind of wish I still had a copy of it, but it does take up a lot of space having all those crazy tracks. But it's one thing that I will definitely enjoy every time I play at East, and that is pitch car. My next one here, number 75, is a highly asymmetrical game, and that is Root. Root is just a solid design with all the different factions going different ways. The birds are trying to basically keep their combos alive. You have lizard folk cultists that are trying to stab people in the back. You have the vagabond that's trying to like exchange items with different people to win their victory points. You have the cats that are just straight up normal area control and building stuff up. There's all sorts of different factions that play very differently in this game. I really want to play Root a lot more than I have. It's just one of those that's hard for me to get back to the table, but I still really enjoyed the game, and that's why it's so high on my top 100. I could see this going up even higher if I got it to the table more than I did. But I would love to play this game at a con with somebody sometime, so if somebody knows the game super well and can help like facilitate the game, hit me up at the retreat or something like that. I would love to play a lot more Root. My number 74 is Space Base. This is one of those games where it's kind of cool because there's like activity going on everybody's turn. Whenever someone rolls the dice, you get to trigger cards on your board and get different resources. And then when it's your turn, you can spin those resources after you roll your dice to be able to get more cards to put into your board to kind of like build up your space base. That's kind of cool because there's different in-game conditions if you get super lucky, but it's mostly about maximizing the probabilities on the different dice you need. Of course, like, I like the way that like you can have the combination of the dice, or you can split them up so that way you can change up the way your space base works. And a lot of numbers are going to be a lot more rare than others, but those are going to have better values and better rewards on them as well. So Space Base is a great game and a fast playing like with little downtime game. So I really enjoy it, and it's space. The next one, my 73 here, is a 2-player duel game, and this is mostly because of the draft here. This is Seven Wonders Duel. I love that pyramid draft. It's really cool, the fact that you're drafting those cards. Some of them are face up, some of them are face down, and you're trying to figure out whether or not you want to take that card because you know it's going to unlock something for somebody else, so maybe you take this other thing. And you have the whole tug of war aspect with the war part of this game. You're just trying to figure out how to build up your tableau of stuff, very much like Seven Wonders, but this brings it down to the 2-player format, and it's just a solid game. I really enjoy Seven Wonders Duel. All right, my 72 here is a game with a lot of story and theme, but also has like solid Euro mechanics, and that is Near and Far. I love Ryan Lockett games. I love the worlds that he puts together, and it's just awesome building up your party, going out adventuring, trying to get those different stories, trying to build up the stuff and get the banners you need to get points and things like that. I really enjoy how Near and Far comes together. I really enjoy the life and the worlds that Ryan Lockett brings together. The artwork is amazing in these games. I've had a ton of fun playing Near and Far. All right, my next one here is a crazy, wacky game, and it's a really old game. This is actually kind of like the first board game that I would say is a hobby board game that I owned myself, and this is Robo Rally. I basically won a card game tournament, and instead of getting more cards for that card game, I used the credit at the booth that they had there and got a copy of Robo Rally. This is a programming game where you're programming out different moves and different turns with all these different robots. But those robots can collide with each other and push each other along or shoot lasers at each other, and you're trying to get these different flags. To enjoy this game, you really need to play on a small board because it always takes longer than you think to program your robot in the right way. But I love the fact that there's conveyor belts moving you and you have to do all this timing, and it's just cool to think of that spatial awareness of how you move your robot and get your robot to the right place without falling into holes or getting blasted away by lasers. Robo Rally is a ton of fun, and I've just had a blast playing it over the years, and it being one of the first hobby board games I owned myself as basically a preteen. I really enjoyed this game over the years, and that is why it is my number 71. Well, that'll do it for another top 10 of my top 100 overall. Next week, we're gonna be in the 60s, going up and up from here. I definitely wanna thank everybody so much for watching these videos and checking out everybody's top 100. It definitely means a lot to us for all the support you give us here at the Dice Tower, and all the comments have been super positive on this. You guys are amazing out there. I definitely go through and read and see what everybody's saying and seeing like if people mention certain games. Definitely shout out if you have a game here that you haven't played or are looking at getting to the table, or something that you feel would be good for your game group. I love seeing like people discovering games from our top 100 lists and just feeling out whether or not a game would work for them in their group. Anyway, leave comments in the comments down below. Make sure to hit up the likes and things like that. And hopefully we'll see you around on all of our other videos. Anyway, I've been Roy Cannaday, and I'll see you on the next one.